From Omni Search Labs in Rhode Island, you're listening to Omni Presents. I'm Chris.
And I'm Cheryl. We're your AI guides from the Omni Search Labs virtual digital marketing team.
Join us as we unravel the latest from the OSL blog.
And walk you through the latest news and information on how to optimize your business for AI and search engines.
So today we are kicking off a deep dive into a really recent piece from the OSL blog. It's titled The Silent Liability of AI Content, the Risk of Omission. And I think this topic is, well, it's incredibly relevant right now, especially for small and medium business owners, right here across Rhode Island and Eastern Massachusetts.
Absolutely, because we all see the challenge they're up against. I mean, if you are running a shop or a specialized service, your priority is operations, right? It's not sitting down for hours trying to write this, detailed search-optimized content about what you do every day.
Exactly. Time is just the most expensive commodity there is. And AI content generation. It really looks like the perfect answer. It's fast, it's consistent, and it's, remarkably cost-effective. It seems to solve that huge time scarcity problem.
It definitely offers relief, but the article points to a really dangerous paradox here. For the past year or so, the entire conversation around AI content has been focused on hallucination.
Right, the AI making things up.
Exactly, where the AI just fabricates a fact, which, you can usually spot with a pretty quick fact check.
But the true liability, this silent risk,
Yeah.
it's not what the AI gets wrong.
No, not at all. The conversation really needs to shift to what the AI leaves out. This act of omission, this quiet removal of key information. It's far more serious because it attacks the very core of a business's expertise and the trust you have with customer, and you can't fact check for something that's absent.
That's a really powerful way to frame it.
Yeah.
The information you didn't even know you needed is the thing that creates the most risk. So let's unpack that. I mean, if AI is trained to be helpful and accurate, how does it end up leaving out the most important stuff?
Well, what's so fascinating is when you understand the mechanics, these large language models, they operate by statistically predicting the next most likely word. They're just analyzing these massive, massive patterns of content on the internet, looking for the most common, successful way to talk about something.
Okay, so if I run a regional plumbing business and I ask an AI to write about water heater maintenance, the AI is basically just synthesizing the average of every single plumbing blog post ever written on that topic.
Precisely. And the outcome is what the article calls the smooth average. The content is, technically accurate. It's grammatically perfect. It follows all the standard SEO practices. But it's been stripped of the unique, hard-won knowledge that actually makes your business different.
So it's not just about sounding generic. It's that the process is actively removing the unique parts. What specifically gets lost in that smoothing process?
Well, the AI sees highly specific, proprietary, or even just regional unique information as like a statistical anomaly. So if only, say, 1% of the source material mentions a specific material tolerance, or a unique certification that only 5 companies in New England hold, the AI's safety algorithm might actually suppress that detail. It reads it as a potential error or just a low-confidence data point.
Wow. So in its own pursuit of safety and consistency, the AI actively sacrifices your competitive advantage. That's heavy.
It is. What gets lost is what the article calls the grit, history, specifications, and know-how that made your business successful in the first place. That missing context is usually your competitive moat. It's what protects you from rivals. And if you voluntarily leave that out, you're basically publishing content that is optimized for obscurity.
And that obscurity, I imagine, gets incredibly costly when you connect it back to actually converting a customer.
Yeah, exactly. That smooth, average content leads directly into what we call the trust gap.
Explain that. What does that gap look like from the customer's point of view?
So when a prospective client, let's say a commercial customer looking for a specialized machining shop in Pawtucket visits a website, they are not looking for marketing jargon. They are actively searching for evidence of expertise. They want concrete reasons, the proof, to choose this business over the one down the street.
And if all the content sounds like it could have been written for anyone, you haven't given them that evidence. You've left a gap between your claim of expertise and the proof they need to actually trust you.
Let's use the industry examples from the post because this makes it really tangible. So consider a specialized manufacturer. An AI might generically describe that business as using high-quality components and precision engineering.
Which sounds like a description you could apply to literally any machine shop in the world.
Right. But imagine the manufacturer in Pawtucket. They specialize in a certain alloy blend. Maybe it's 4140 steel. And they've developed a unique cold forging process that cuts client setup time by 20%. If the AI just omits the specific alloy grade or that proprietary forging detail, the client who actually knows about material science for their supply chain, they just click away.
Because to that informed client, the difference between high-quality components and certified 4140 cold-forged in-house, I mean, that's the difference between a generic vendor and a real partner. One of those phrases converts, the other is just noise.
And then omission risks losing the sale entirely because the client can't verify your level of authority. True authority is built on the everyday realities, the proprietary details of your trade, not some abstract claim.
And that's a detail that only the lead engineer or the shop foreman really holds. Okay, so let's shift gears. Let's look at the professional service side. If we're talking about healthcare IT services, how does this omission risk show up there?
For professional services, the AI often misses these unique operational details. So, for example, it might correctly write about patient-centered care.
Yeah.
But let's look at a specialized medical practice, maybe in, say, South Kingstown.
Okay, what would they have that an AI just wouldn't pick up on?
They might have spent years refining a very specific patient intake process. It's designed not just for data collection, but to actively reduce patient anxiety and wait times. They built it because they saw that their local patients often struggle with stress before appointments, that custom empathetic process. That's their unique selling point. It's evidence of their commitment to the community.
And the AI sees that unique process as an outlier, an exception, so it just smooths it out. It replaces it with a generic phrase, efficient scheduling. The very detail that differentiates them, the reason patients tell their neighbors to go there, is just gone.
Completely gone. Or, take IT services, especially in Eastern Mass where compliance is so critical. An AI might promote DoD-level cybersecurity, which is a powerful, high-level claim. But what if that business worked incredibly hard to achieve a specific RPA designation, a key compliance certification, maybe for robotic process automation security protocols? If they fail to mention that one detail, they're invisible to the corporate client who uses that exact designation as a mandatory search filter.
So if I'm that client and I'm searching for businesses with that specific certification and the AI-generated content failed to mention it, that business just doesn't exist to me.
That's the good enough trap. When these critical, unique details are missing, the business just looks generic. It fails to convert visitors because the content doesn't sound unique enough to solve their specific, often local and technical problems. The content might be good, but it's just not good enough to make them choose you.
Okay, so the liability is clear. By relying purely on AI for speed, you are stripping your content of the specificity you need to build trust and prove you're an expert. But if I'm a busy SMB owner, I'm already completely crunched for time. We know AI is fast. If I now have to add a human review step, aren't I just undermining the whole efficiency argument? Why would I ask my expensive lead engineer to go proofread a blog post?
And that is the fundamental challenge. It really requires shifting your mindset. You have to stop viewing AI as a replacement for content creation and start seeing it as a powerful but incomplete drafting assistant. The blog post is very clear. The solution is not to get rid of AI, but to reintroduce your own expertise strategically.
Which brings us to the solution the article proposes, which is called IHE.
Hi. It's artificial intelligence plus human intelligence. The rule is that the AI handles the structure, the first draft, the initial speed. But the human, the founder, the expert technician, the practice manager, that person is the subject matter expert. They hold the knowledge that actually sells and proves authority.
So the value isn't AI or human, it's AI with human. But you still have to justify that extra human step. Why is the ROI there?
Because those competitive details are what move the needle from just generic lead generation to high-value conversion. If the AI gives you a 90% foundation in 10 minutes, spending another 10 minutes of your expert's time to inject the specific 10% that converts the client, that is an excellent use of your capital. You're investing in what makes you unique.
So it comes down to just slowing down. Just long enough to review the content, but specifically through the lens of what's missing.
That's the key shift. Don't review it for typos or grammar. The AI already handled that. You have to review it to find what was glossed over, what was omitted, what specific proprietary detail needs to be put back. Guarantee something critically important is almost always missing.
The article gives this fantastic, really actionable checklist for business owners to use before they hit publish. 4 questions that force that human intelligence back into the process. Let's walk through them.
Okay, so the first critical question is, what is missing? This forces you to think beyond the general topic. Did we skip a technical spec, a proprietary process, a real-world example from our area that our best clients actually care about?
That's where you insert the 4140 seal specification, or that unique patient intake process. It's the secret ingredient.
Exactly. Then, question 2. Is this the whole truth? Does this content really reflect the everyday constraints, the trade-offs, the options we deal with on the shop floor or in the office? If the AI draft makes the solution sound way too easy, it's probably missing the complexity, the grit that proves you actually know your business.
Right. If you're a builder, and the AI writes about remodeling a historic colonial home in Newport, but doesn't mention the structural challenges of 18th century framing or local permitting hurdles, it's not the whole truth.
That's the difference between textbook theory and real-world execution. The third question is the best test for that smooth average trap. Does this sound like us? If you pasted this exact text onto the website of your biggest competitor in Woonsocket or Fall River, would it still fit there perfectly?
And if the answer is yes, then you've just published content for your competitor. You haven't captured your unique voice or your philosophy. That's the moment to edit.
And finally, the fourth question. Is it meaningful? Does the content deliver genuine value, useful information, a clear cost-saving insight, an actionable next step for the reader? It has to do more than just exist. It has to guide them.
The IHE rule really is about making sure that your decades of experience and specialized knowledge are actually reflected in your digital storefront, not sterilized by some generic template.
And that human effort is what contributes to long-term online authority. When you use the IHE rule and you make sure the content is unique and high quality, it helps your business adhere to broader quality standards. It makes it trustworthy and authoritative, both to your customers and to search engines. That intentional human effort is what builds trust.
Here's the wrapper. The greatest risk of using AI for content isn't factual error, but the quiet omission of unique specifications and operational details that are essential proof points to demonstrate your business's expertise and build customer trust.
If you're a business owner challenged with this right now, the key is to adopt the IHE rule. Use AI to draft content, but before publishing, have your in-house subject matter expert review it specifically to answer the question, what unique detail or key process that distinguishes my Pawtucket manufacturing process or my Providence clinical approach did this AI draft leave out that our best clients rely on?
Head over to omnisearchlabs.com/blog to read the full post.
We'll be back in a few weeks with our next episode. From OmniSearch Labs in Rhode Island, thanks for listening.
Now go optimize something and be discovered.